If you're tired of the same old basic chili recipe, then let me teach you how to make the mean chili. This is full of smoky flavor and it has a totally different flavor profile than basic chili, and I'm going to teach you how to make it. So before we start anything, we got to start with the most important thing, which is the beans, and I'm pressure cooking them. While those beans are pressure cooking, I'm going to dice up one yellow onion. Now you can use another onion if you want to. I've seen some people use red onion. That's a totally different flavor profile for me, but I'm using a yellow onion, a green bell pepper. You can use another bell pepper color if you like. And I'm just medium dicing each vegetable. Now you can go a little bit of chunkier if you want to, but this is like the perfect size for me. This is a beef chili and it's going to be a lot more chunkier because of the beef and not the vegetables. So just keep that in mind. That's really all of the work that you're probably going to have to do in this recipe. With that being said, let me tell you the other ingredients that you need. You need some ground chuck, your favorite sausage. Now I'm just using some hot sausage. You need 1 jar of chunky salsa, and then we're going to use another jar of tanqueria salsa. These are going to add a depth of flavor that you will not believe. Is going to be a roasty flavor along with like a tomato type flavor. We're just using these in replace of like the rotel and diced tomatoes and stuff. You're going to need some apple cider vinegar and salt to like tune up your chili. Also, you're going to need some beef bone broth, and you're going to need your favorite chili seasoning. This is the one I use, and we're kind of going to doctor that up. Last but not least, you're going to need some W sauce. This just brings another depth of flavor to it. So these are my beans after I pressure cooked it, and I'm adding a little bit of the juice to the chili, and we're going to place that to the side. Now get ready for my secret ingredient, which is cocoa powder. You won't taste it, but it does add another depth of flavor. And I'm just adding it to my chili seasoning along with some garlic powder, some salt, and we're going to give that a quick mix before we add in some brown sugar. By the way, all of the ingredients and measurements will be in the description below. So this is what you call doctoring up your chili season, and as you can see, I'm doctoring it up. Along with it, this seasoning didn't have a lot of chili powder added to it, so I added in a little bit of dark chili powder and cumin, and that's it. Now you've completely doctored up your chili seasoning, and now we're ready to cook our chili. So in a heavy bottom pot, I'm going to add some olive oil. This is on medium heat, by the way, and I'm waiting till that oil get hot, and I'm going to add in those vegetables. We're going to saute those vegetables down. I did not include minced garlic in here because I have a lot of garlic that's in the salsa, but if you want to add garlic, you most certainly can. And as you can see, I'm kind of cooking it down. I'm going to cover it just for a second to kind of let the vegetables kind of wilt down. Just want the whole pan to become fragrant before we add anything else. So you can see me covering it up here, and as I open it back up, you can see the vegetables kind of condense down a little bit. So I'm taking them out and then putting them to the side. Now that we have a flavor profile going, I'm going to add in my ground beef and my hot sausage. This is like a medium chili, so you're definitely going to get a lot more meat than you would in a regular chili. And I'm just cooking it down, and after I cook that down, I'm going to like strain all the grease out of there. We do not want that in our final product. I do suggest that you cook this all the way through because we want all that grease that's in those meats to be out of there before you add in everything else. So just make sure you guys do that. So anyway, I'm going to take that and then drain it and then add my vegetables and my meat back in there. And I'm going to use a wooden spoon to make sure I get all of that beef fat and those juices from the sausage from the bottom of the pan mixed into the chili. And make sure all of my vegetables are well combined in the meat part. Now we're adding in the chili seasoning that we doctor up, and we're just frying those to open up the flavor profile. Frying this chili seasoning is going to open up another depth of flavor, and you want to make sure you smell it before you add anything else. I would say give it around 5 to 10 minutes on medium high, and you want all of your meat to be covered like this. And then you're going to add in your beef broth like a little bit at a time. And I'm doing a little bit at a time because some of the seasoning got stuck, so I'm just using a spoon to kind of loosen it up a little bit. Don't want to lose any of that beef flavor in this chili. Is super important. We're going to keep on stirring this. I want to see the bottom of the pan before I add any other thing to this chili. Can add a little bit of beef broth, so a little bit at a time to kind of loosen it up a little bit more. I didn't add the whole thing of beef broth in here, but I did kind of loosen up the beef fat at the bottom. Just add more if needed. So now we're going in with our salsa. I like salsa instead of diced tomato because I think things that are kept in a jar are a little bit better than things that are kept in a can. And I was absolutely right. The freshness of these salsas together actually made this chili, the bomb. So with the tanqueria chili, it's going to have a lot more smokiness to it. Basically, they fire roast tomatoes and chipotle peppers, and they condensed it down, which is why it has a darker color than the regular salsa that you saw me put in first. Now, I know salsa is kind of like a weird ingredient to go into chili, but I promise you it makes a total difference than using stuff from the can. Now I'm kind of giving it another mix down to make sure I can see the bottom of the pan, and also I'm going to add a little bit more seasoning because I tasted it before I put it in there. So now I'm adding a little bit more dark chili powder, ground cumin, just to kind of season it up. You want to do this before you add in your beef broth because because once you add in your beef broth, it's going to give you the illusion that you need more seasoning. But once this condensed down, it's actually going to be well seasoned. So now you see me adding in my beef broth. Now this is bone broth. Now beef bone broth is like the cheat code because it has a lot of flavor in there, which means I'm not going to have to season it up a lot more than what I am right now. Now we're going in with our W sauce. Now don't add a lot of this in here. I'll leave like an exact measurements in the description below. And then I'm going to add in some apple cider vinegar, and we're going to give that a mix and a taste before we cover this up and put this in the oven on 275 for an hour and 30 minutes. After an hour and 30 minutes, you can see that the chili has condensed down considerably, and that's what we want. We want to open up a different level of flavor and roastiness, and that happens when you expose the chili to dry, wet heat. So now all we're going to do is add in our beans. We're adding them in last because we don't want them to be too mushy. We're also going to add in a little bit of that bean liquor as well. I'll leave the exact measurements for that. The bean liquor is actually going to help this to kind of give like a creaminess to it without the beans being like the main star of the show. We don't want our beans to be the main star of the show. We just want it to kind of melt in your mouth in the background and actually be tender and done. So now that I added in the bean liquor, I'm going to add a little bit of more seasoning. I kind of tasted it and I know what I need to add. So I'm going in with a little bit of salt first. And I'm going in with some regular chili powder. This is not the dark chili powder that we used at the beginning of the video. Dark chili powder has more of a roasty flavor, and we don't need any more roasty flavor. So now I'm going in with a little bit of more ground cumin. And you can actually kind of, tune it up the way you want it to be for you. This is just what I'm doing to make sure that the chili is, to my liking. So I gave it another taste, and what I'm going to do is just add a little bit of more apple cider vinegar, W sauce, and then put this back in the oven on 375 this time for about 45 minutes. The smell that comes off this chili when you put it in the oven on 375 is like out of this world. Once you take it out, your chili will be done. It is condensed down. It's the perfect texture for a chili. It's meaty, it's roasty, it's good. Now you just want to taste it to make sure that everything is tuned up to your liking. And again, I'm going in with a little bit of ground cumin and a little bit more chili powder. I wanted mine a little bit of spicy, but if it's the perfect kind of flavor for you guys, then definitely don't do anything to it. Also went in with a little bit of more brown sugar. Once the chili is tuned up to your liking, then you're ready to devour it. And I want you to look at this texture. It is super meaty. The beans are not mushy. It's well put together. The flavor is roasty and flavorful, and it's going to open up your nose a little bit because of that good old seasoning that we added to it. Now all you have to do is add in your toppings, which is just for me is some Fritos, a little bit of corn, and I'm going to go in with a little bit of extra cheese on top. And y'all, when I say this chili is good, I mean this chili is good. From everything that you will want in a chili, from the seasonings to the dry, wet heat of, putting this in the oven and not cooking this on the stove top. This is super, super easy for you guys to do. And I hope you guys give my mean chili a try. If you guys love this video, make sure you guys give it a thumbs up. Also subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next video.